So Yoa is
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Yeah, Yahweh.
This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one for me. I'm going to have to work on this one. Still, the ban stages is going on right now. Of course, we do see the Magnus ban out from Execration, and there are still yet to be 2 more bans to come out. We'll have to wait on those, John. Overall, though, like I'm thinking back to Game 1. I don't necessarily think that TNC completely outdrafted Execration. It seemed more of a outplaying situation, especially if we think back to that mid lane where RML started off with the first blood and a double kill. That seems to be where it really all went wrong. Is RML then just had a completely free game. Of course, Gabby had a completely free game as well, just farming the top lane just completely freely. And 6 minutes in, had the Mask of Madness up, just started farming like a madman, and just didn't really feel like he even needed the Aghanim Scepter on that Sven. Even if he didn't have it, it just wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, he was just getting the damage off, and he was so farmed up. Honestly, I feel like he could have gotten away with, say, a Daedalus Rush instead of his conservative play. He went for the Silver Edge. He was playing it safe. He was playing it smart. But I think he could have gone way greedier there. For me, I think the moment when Execration really fell apart wasn't from laning. I think it took a little bit longer. Where it truly started to crumble apart was when they did that triple smoke. Like they smoked once, they lost it. I know they smoked twice in a row because of a mistake. And then they pop another smoke after they already wasted their scan and were already spotted out before. That's when it really fell apart. I think that showed us a bit of a tunnel vision effect on Execration, which hopefully they've shaken off some of that mental wear and tear. They go with the ET now, so with a Mars snap, they've got a lot of team fight here. But TNC have this Shadow Demon coming through, and we've seen what Shadow Demon can do in laning. It's also a very stable way of saving anyone caught out in the arena spear, and also canceling off the kisses from the snap. So you've got options now on how to deal with any of those spells that come through. Shadow Demon's going to give you a lot of value here.
Well, I think this is one of the supports right now that is very. You were frozen for a sec there, and you were pouting, John. It was very cute. It's like you were taking a selfie. I feel like Shadow Demon is one of those supports right now that is very undervalued, especially in this current like stacking meta that we have, where it's so much of the current meta is about getting those neutrals stacked up in the jungle and just kind of getting an advantage in terms of net worth doing that. We saw it last game, and we'll see it again, I'm sure, especially with this Shadow Demon pickup. It's a very potent pick to have. Still Execration, they do go into the Void Spirit. A nice strong pick in the current meta as well. Should allow them quite a bit of team fight potential. I do believe this should be a mid Void Spirit as well coming up for Execration.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it does look that way. Could be probably their mid, but they have some flexibility with a mid snap, which has really faded out of popularity. I guess you've also got the Mars mid. If your matchup is really that bad, I don't necessarily see anything that the Mars would excel over the Void. Still TNC, build up this draft great, go into the Bat Rider that we have seen constantly banned out as well. So Execration have very limited options here. They don't have anything to stop the lasso. There might be room for an LC or an Oracle or Abaddon, but it doesn't really line up with this draft well at all. So I'd say probably not looking at any way of purging off that lasso. TNC is going to get a lot of value from the Bat Rider here. If they lane it mid, whether or not it's the Void or Mars, doesn't matter too much to Bat. It'd be really good if that is our RML here. Of course, that could just be KPs. So a lot of flexibility still for TNC going into that last pick as well.
I would agree. Final banouts now. The Spectre Slaughter being removed. Looks like TNC will just focus in on those position ones, as it does appear that that's what Execration is currently missing. Funnily enough, the Sven is still available. What are you laughing at, Jonathan?
I was looking at chat. So this is when we were clarifying how to pronounce Yoa's name, right? And everyone's just saying, let's yell Yawa. Just say Yawa. It's like, nah, guys, nah. I will say it now because I can get away with it. You can say it as well, Yawa.
Yawa.
Just say it once.
What does that mean, John?
Well, it's a curse word, Mike.
Well, why would you tell me to say it then, John?
Because it's fun. It's what we yell here. It's like, you know, we're very expressive here in this part of the country, so you just kind of just toss it out there. Of course, you used to
Do-
get spanked for it as a kid, but
Do I want to know what it means? Is there a nice way of telling me what it means, John?
it's literally a curse. So it's basically the devil. For
Okay.
some reason, that's an extreme way of saying the devil, and
Right.
it's apparently a bad word. But it's literally like devil, but in a very severe way. I don't know. Still, what I do know is this last pick for TNC, the Underlord comes true, so we could be seeing that bat mid. Maybe the Underlord mid for RML. I'm not sure if they want to flex it that way. Should be KP. Really solid lineup here. All of these heroes play well with Chrono, have stable timings, stable lanes.
Oh,
Execration
no.
close out with a surprise Arc Warden.
No.
I know about that one, though.
You know what scares me, John? Is the new patch is set to drop in maybe 3-4 days, right? They're waiting on Epic League to finish, I'm sure, before they drop the new patch. I'm really afraid that this hero is going to get buffed. So I don't think it's received a buff in a while. And I don't think it's picked up often enough for Ice Frog's liking, you know? Like, you think about the POS ones right now, the Spectres, the Svens, the PAs, the Voids. I'm really afraid they're going to buff this Arc Warden. And on top of that...
Yeah?
On top of that, John, one hero that really hasn't seen a buff for a very long time is the Tinker. So if you can imagine my biggest fear right now, John, is that we have a patch where Arc Warden gets buffed, and then Tinker gets buffed. And then we have a patch for the next 6 to 7 months where all we see is two of these cores that just push non-stop, and nobody's ever able to finish the game. I am very afraid of that happening.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. We can all kind of hope for the best. We'll see when the patch does roll around. Still, when it comes down to this draft, I think you and I will agree with this. Like, the last pick Arc Warden is kind of interesting, and the Arc Warden can do a lot of work. But I do see, I look at TNC's draft, I look at this Gabby faces Void, and I'm wondering what the heck Execration can actually do. Like, there's absolutely nothing to counter it except the Arc Warden's bubble. And even then, that's not going to be a big worry when it actually comes to fights with a Chrono. I don't think the Void's going to worry about that too much at all.
I would agree. Well, good lucks are coming out. Of course, both these teams appear to be, like, quite close. I'm sure they play a lot of games with each other. It's all in good spirit, these tips coming out, of course. Gabby, not giving it over to RR. Heavy, giving the good luck. Poor guy still probably doesn't know what's going on between these two. He's just here doing his job.
Yeah,
Gabby's going to say hello to FBZ.
Zombie high five. Just standing around.
Oh, don't be rude.
Wants it back.
Don't be rude, BDZ. I said FBZ, by the way.
We all miss Boom ID.
I
Boom
do.
Esports. But up here, come on, don't leave him hanging. Give him the high five. BTZ's asking for it.
No,
Armel. You know what he just said? So BTZ's like, give me a high five, and Armel's like, in your face. And BTZ's like, you're really full of it. Clever Armel. Look at you.
It's like a 2 for 2 bounty trade. No. Yoa does. See, I can't pronounce that one. I mean, it's gonna be
Yoa. You got it.
Yoa.
I mean, yeah, Yoa.
Yoa. All right. Yoa does manage to get the bounty. Did RR get the other one? No. Tim's managed to get it, but it is a 3 for 1 trade. So it definitely is a very nice start for Execration.
Yeah, it's a good injection of gold. This is going to help them accelerate fast. You do want to hit certain item timings quick, especially that Arc Warden. Might is going to be key here. They are going to split up their lanes, of course. We are seeing RR sticking with that Arc Warden. Yoa, and KP is up there. They're going to be laning up against that, and the Shadow Demon played by Tims. This is a really potent combo once you've got some levels up. You get Pit of Malice up, a value point in it, and then you get Disruption off. That could be a guaranteed kill if you get enough damage on, so you do have to be careful with how you position yourself here if you are Execration.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, over in the mid lane as well, you have Armel there up against Ken. Now, they put the Mars in the mid lane up against this Batrider, John, but I'm not really sure that's going to be very suitable here for Ken. Of course, you do have the opportunity to spear away the Batrider. In fact, hold that thought, because top lane KP.
Ooh.
getting very, very low and being forced back all the way to the fountain. Doesn't bother trying to go back towards that tier 1 tower. But the point I was trying to make in this mid lane is for Ken on this Mars, you do have the opportunity to just kind of spear the Batrider away, assuming he does get on top of you and start using that Firefly. But even then, it should be a very tough lane for Ken.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy time. You can see him dancing on Colts right now. 9 sticky napalm stack. Fortunately, Armel has no option to use that. And because he went with his early Magic Wand start, there's a lot of burst healing available for Ken. So he can kind of dance around here. He's maximizing this early part of lane well. He's not lagging too far behind that Batrider. And I think that's all you can hope for right now. Like, once Armel hits level 4 or 5, even if this lane doesn't win out for him, he's going to have a better time that jungle farm.
Of course, bot lane as well. Febby, he's fallen low twice in a row now on that Phoenix. Barely getting away with a slither of HP each time. Does manage to salve up now, and he's going to be just fine. Has the passive Ring of Regen just to keep him up slowly but surely. And BDZ has to be slightly cautious. He gets bashed one more time, he's gone. But the Aether Remnant going to be there to make sure that Gabby can't go for that attempt. Rupido making sure he does take care of his support Snapfire. So make sure BDZ does get the salve off, and it's going to be just fine. Well, Mel, looks like he did end up going for that Firefly attempt. In fact, he's still going on to Ken. Ken is going to be just fine, however. He went for the spear into the tree line, and that did mean that Armel was stunned up. Actually, Ken, don't go back into the fire. He gets a spin off. He does not have the God's Rebuke available right now, so Armel, he can just chase him down. And he'll get the first blood. Armel now will die. BDZ, he did not make it in time to get the XP, John. He got nothing. Armel gave nothing away for that.
That is not good news for the side of Execration. And there goes the tips. These guys in TNC, man, they are having fun. Of course, they're all friends. We know it. You know, it's just the kind of thing you'd find in, like, when you run into your usual opponents in an internet cafe. It's still rough. Like, Ken, I mean, we said this lane would always be tough. Armel now level up, a full level up, mind you. Means that he's going to have a good time harassing Ken, and he's going to have an easy time clearing out some jungle camps for himself.
And now, yeah, I mean, you've already pointed it out, but Armel is just going to dominate the lane now, this Batrider. It's BDZ, of course, going to be there to try and help out. Firefly is going to be popped, and Armel will just be able to run away with that bonus speed. In fact, he might turn around. If he did have more of a creep wave, he definitely would have considered it.
Ooh.
Instead, he finds a haste rune to bottle up, so gets a power rune anyway. And his lane continues to just get that much better. Just continue enjoying himself in this mid lane. And as he's doing that, I mean, every other lane for TNC is going just fine. Like Gabby, top of the CS board right now. Rupido right behind him on the Void Spirit. I suppose the top lane isn't going as well as they would have hoped for KP. He is currently sitting at 15-1, so it's not all bad news for him on the Unlord either. I'd say overall, they are still on track to try and get themselves another good game going.
Yeah, it's a really even start on the board. Are seeing some good zoning here from RR, so he should be able to secure himself the bounty runes as he misses out. Now he does manage to grab it, so you are in a pretty good spot to start trading hits here. Trading farm is looking good, although down mid.
Yeah, Armel, he really wants a kill. BDZ is going to go down. You don't really necessarily need the Firefly or the Flame Break to get the kill. Your right-click damage is just so high with those sticky napalm stacks, so he just goes in and kills it. No problems here for Armel.
Yeah, no, all those movements out really frees up those side lanes. So even if they're dragging heroes down to Armel, they're not losing too much, as the heroes of TNC can be independent.
Well, he's going to turn around. Nice setup there from BDZ. Able to give a kill over to the Void Spirit, and it's going to be a very nice feeling here for Rupido. And Gabby is still farming up very nicely, though, and that's going to be a big problem as RR now getting very low. Armel makes a rotation up towards the top lane and does get himself another kill on this Batrider.
Yeah, and he gets to clear out some stacks as well, so there's a lot of gold. Going towards our Bat Rider, going to be a very fast Boots of Travels on RML. This has given some space for Tims to soak down mid. Of course, that is also going to help Ken bounce back here as the lane's freed up, but they're starting to look for some pressure. They know they've given Yoe a lot of space to farm up, so it's time to contest that Arc Warden and apply some pressure before the Midas flies out.
It is definitely a good time for Yoe though. Like 31-13 on the Arc Warden, having a very nice time. You pointed out that Midas. I mean, it's definitely coming sooner rather than later. Going to be a decent timing here for this Arc Warden. Looks like Armel does eventually end up just leaving the lane, going back towards the mid lane, and he's level 7. No points in Lasso quite as of yet, so just wanting to keep up this farm for now. Not too interested in trying to chase down an Arc Warden yet. I suppose even once the Midas is up, although it's going to really escalate, help him escalate and farm, it's not going to be the end of the world yet. I mean, you're really looking for that that later stage of the game for the Arc Warden to become kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Arena out.
Is there. Cookie also out from BDZ, but the damage is not quite there yet. Armel, he just turns back around with the Firefly. BDZ also going to go down, and Febby is the one to pick up the double kill on the Phoenix. And he does deserve it, John. As Fire Spirits and the Sunray really just allowing that double kill to happen in the first place.
Yeah, just good timing from Febby to head down mid. Really good turnaround there. That was Execration on the offensive. So they got a lot more from TNC, and they to start to put themselves in a good spot to work this map. Like that forced a response out from Execration. The side lanes are kind of freed up here.
So they are going to make a bit of a chase here onto Tims. That bot lane. Tims going very, very far in. It's going to get stunned up, and well, they'll leave it to the Void Spirit. In fact, the gold is going to be split. The Creep's got it. So, bit unfortunate for our Void Spirit, but he's going to be alright with that. Back down to the bot lane for him. He'll just keep farming himself up. I've got to say, they might start getting somewhat concerned soon about the fact that Gabby is farming uncontested. Now, he has been for the past 8.5 minutes now. Again, we've seen Gabby on this Void many times. He does tend to become a powerhouse if he is left like this. But top lane, looks like KB going to get caught out still. Yoe trying to get the kill, does get it, but the lasso now going to be out from Armel. Yoe still surviving, but no, the Pit of Malice is going to hold him into the Firefly. Still Armel now going to go down. So not all bad news. They do end up getting 2 calls. In fact, they might even get Tims now. Rupido is going to come in on the Void Spirit. Tims trying to run. The spear will miss, and the Sunray is going to help him out as Febby. He's not level 6 yet, so he can't drop the egg. BDZ does not connect with the Scatter Blast, and the disruption is going to be there. In fact, KB going to come in now, but they have already killed off Tims. But Rupido is out of Astral Step charges. Has some in 2 seconds, so he should be okay. But Armel is now on the chase. He will commit. But the Flame Break is going to connect, and that should mean the Void Spirit is eventually going to die. A very back and forth team fight.
Yeah, it's really even across the board in this game too. So Execration starting to find some decent trades. TNC's not really giving out any big of a lead, so it's very even in net worth as well. Less than 1k difference between both teams. The big upside is, he talked about Gabby having free farm. He's got his Midas up a bit earlier than Yoe here does. So a slight lead on Gabby there. You're still going to have a good timing in the Midas. It will take a little bit more time for Arc Warden to be a full menace though. So you've got to give space out to Yoe, build up that farm, really maximize this Midas, and just avoid fights every time Gabby's got the chrono. Like without the Mask of Madness, Gabby's probably not going to look for those opportunities as much. He is still just going to have a really good time farming up. So I think it's on Execration to actually punish the Void for going for this really greedy build. It's just that they've not been allowed to really roam past mid all too often.
That they have not. A bit of a smoke up here from Execration now. They're trying to sneak into the Radiant jungle, and they are going to perhaps run into KB. Not going to be too hard to get this kill, especially with those Mortimer's Kisses if they do throw them out. But for now, they've held out. They will eventually get the kill now, but Armel is going to be around with Tims, and they are going to at least try to get BDZ. Not quite the trade that TNC would want, but Execration are going to be very happy about that. Now Febby going onto RR, trying to find a bit more for their trouble. Aether Remnant going to be able to lock down Armel for a little bit as RR is going to be able to run away. So overall, pretty darn good for Execration.
Yeah, it's a really strong trade for them again, staying even on the board. There is a smoke now from TNC though, but they do have Egg, they do have Chrono. It's just they're not playing with Gabby, so they're going to have to try to use that Egg in a very smart way. I'm not sure if they'll even find a big opportunity, but the two supports are hunting.
Yeah, they'll give it a crack. Tims and Febby moving up. Febby got plenty of wards there to place down and get some vision out. Gabby gonna jump in. Does have the chrono. Doesn't really want to commit it just onto RR. Yoe will show himself, and a nice stomp is there into the cookie of BDZ, but Disruption is gonna save Gabby from dying. Can he get himself out? He does time walk. Now Rupido trying to jump in, but the lasso's out in the chrono. Gonna hold them back. The Tempest Double was the only one in the chrono, but they wanted to make sure it had no influence, and it did not. Overall, a nice little win there for TNC, finding a 2-for-0 trade.
Yeah, it's a really good use of their combo. First time we've seen the chrono fly out from Gabby, so a little bit slower than we're used to seeing from Gabby, but it ends up a pretty significant chrono. A nice set of kills going their way. Widens the lead to 3Ks, breaking that deadlock and giving TNC a clear lead here. They can't quite transition to a full objective. They are not the fastest pushing team, which is one of the downsides of the draft of TNC in comparison to Execration, but Execration, for their part, can't really do too much to go hunting Widow spells down. Like, they know Chrono, they know Lasso, and they know Eggs down. It's just that they're still sort of under-farmed here. Like, Rupido can jump in, but he doesn't have follow-up, doesn't have the guaranteed control. They will smoke up, though.
They will. Down towards the south they go. Armel does show himself in front of that range creep, so they know where the Batrider is. They are going to start heading that way. Ken with this blink should be able to set up onto this bat as the Firefly is ending now, and Armel is in massive trouble and looks like he is going to go down. Nice gank out from Execration. They do find themselves another important pick-off. Armel was at the top of the net worth board, and well, it's probably the best hero you could have asked for.
Yep, it does allow them to also transition to an objective if they wanted to. They've got the real Yoa there as well, although their mid is under pressure, so they're going to have to send a couple of bodies out to prevent the full push.
Nice spear back from Ken, but the Earth Split is now just going to be a complete whiff. Sunray's going to come in from Febby, keeping KP alive. Now they do jump in onto the Phoenix instead, and they do get themselves a kill, but Gabby is going to be in with the time dilation, trying to find a target. He'll go after RR. No Lucky Pasha's coming out. He finally gets some going for himself, but Yoe is coming in on the Arc Warden. Instead, they'll go after Tims now with the Mortimer's Kisses out, but another spear there from Ken. That is going to set up onto the Shadow Demon. In fact, they even found KP in the stomp out from RR with an Aether Remnant out now from their Void Spirit. They try to jump in with a Spirit onto Armel. He's looking for a lasso. He'll end up finding that Void Spirit. Rupido trying to find his way out, but he has no way out. He will die. Gabby does have a chrono if he wants to commit. Sunray will be there, and time dilation also will be thrown out. RR still a bit too fast. Gabby trying to get the kill. Does eventually get it, and now Yoe gonna jump in. Does he not realize the chrono's there? Maybe he just doesn't. Oh no. A big whiff out from Gabby. Very unfortunate, but a nice backstep there from Yoe, and well, that's gonna pay off dividends now for the side of Execration. In fact, Arena spear there set up from Ken, and that's gonna be Gabby gone. Just a disastrous set of events coming out now for TNC.
They really overextended there. Good punishment out from Execration. That does give them some leeway to maybe chip away on their own objectives. They have not actually taken that bot tier 1. That could be the safer play as they do circle their heroes around. Maybe hunt down Tims. Not the biggest target, but should be straightforward if they do commit. TNC, for their part, they are down Chrono. They are up Egg and Lasso, though. Lasso in a bit. So they can have some options to fight. They would probably just want to wait for Gabby to be ready to go. So Gabby did go for the Mask of Madness build after his Midas. Just again, a little bit of a greedy farming build here for Gabby, which does mean that if he does keep dying like this, Yahweh will get a little bit more from his Arc Warden.
No.
It's just endless.
Mid lane, Ken gonna get jumped on. They do have the Pit of Malice holding him down, and now the lasso is gonna be out onto RR. They'll kill off Ken onto RR. They get another nice easy kill. And I mean, the last team fight, they look terrible, but TNC, they just don't care about that. In fact, they found Yoen now. That's a massive target to catch out, and they will get him. In fact, they will also get the Tempest double, it looks like. It's, of course, quite a bit of gold, and Gabby will take it. Plus 240 for him.
Ooh, it's just big wins for TNC. They widen that gap back to 6K. They're in 16 to 12 at 17 minutes in. They can't quite full commit, but ooh.
Yeah, Armel, he's not done. He finds another one up towards the top lane. The only survivor is Rupido on the Void Spirit. He was just farming it out and pushing out the bot wave. Now mid lane, Ken gonna jump in with the arena out. Onto that Phoenix, Febby. He's gonna go down very easily.
Yeah, it's something for nothing at the least. But it's, again, not the biggest target to lose here for TNC, not the biggest target to find for Execration. They still need a lot of room to grow here on Execration's end. We're looking at an Arc Warden. That's about 3K behind the Faceless Void. That's not the spot you want this hero to be in. He needs to be off to a running start in terms of farm. He needs to keep these lanes shoved out, keep the pressure up on the objectives, and we haven't seen that come out yet from Yoe. So he needs these travels up soon. There's just so little space now. You can see how many sentries they've planted to keep their triangle safe. But it's just not enough space to really get a running start off on an Arc Warden this late in.
No, it definitely isn't, John. Execration, they're just going to chill out for a bit, sit back and relax, but TNC, they know nothing of that. However, smoke is going to be revealed because they do run into that Wraith Spirit or whatever the hell it's called. Lasso is going to be out onto the Elder Titan, and now the Chrono. This time it does land. They found the Arc Warden, and Yoe, he's going to die. Pit of Malice out from KP, catching two as well. Gabby, he's falling low, but he is able to get the Time Walk off in time. Onto BDZ. Rupido trying to fight back, but he is all by himself, and he's going to die by himself. The only survivor will be Ken on the Mars, and he just ran away. He could not do anything to help them out. That Gabby going for a Roshan is going to find Ken. Spear Arena is there, but Disruption is going to save. And well, they'll let Ken know they are very happy about that. But Gabby just jumping back into the walls, has to be careful. But Ken is almost guaranteed to die, and he will eventually go down now. And perhaps you're not healthy enough to go for a Roshan, but you've got a 10k net worth lead, John. I don't think TNC mind.
No, definitely not. They've widened the gap once more. 22 to 13 here, Mike. Sub 20 minutes in. Look at that win probability from Dota Plus. 94% the way of TNC now. Look at how the farm distribution is working out for TNC as well. Gabby and Armel very dead even in terms of net worth. Way beyond Yoe. And Yoe is going to need to find some space somehow. The Mjolnir is just about being assembled up. Is he flying out travels? No, he actually has to skip the travels. So if you're not seeing the split push coming out here, they've lost way too much early on, and it's down to that one key rotation up top. That one time they found him really offset that Midas timing long enough that he was always going to be behind that Faceless Void.
And he was. Now they'll go back for that Roshan. TNC, they'll get started, and I mean, in terms of trying to counter this Roshan play, there's not really much you can do. You've just got to kind of accept the fact that it's going to go down no matter what you do. Even with all the ultis up for Execration, I mean, maybe they could win the team fight, but they're not going to find out in time anyway. It's just gone. So another little advantage now for TNC. Gabby, he's going to have Chrono up in 20 seconds, but they will go straight for a smoke. And in fact, that smoke could be very well timed. As well, in the middle of this team fight that is coming up, the Chrono is probably going to be up, and they have found Ken. Spear is going to be preemptively thrown out, but it is not going to land. And Armel, he doesn't even want to lasso Ken. He doesn't believe Ken deserves the lasso. turns out he doesn't. As Armel going for more now, running straight south. He might run into BDZ. Pings are coming out. BDZ trying to juke them away. TP is going to be just fine. Meanwhile, Gabby, Dark rifted up towards the top lane, looking for this Arc Warden. Yoe has backed off and is going to be within safety.
Yeah, and, it's still a good pickup for TNC. They would have loved to get more. A good scan out from Execration does spot the rotation of Gabby. Again, he's sitting on a chrono. He wants to use it. Does not have the backup of his Phoenix, so I think you've got to watch yourself. You are a bit far out from Febby. But Execration dodges well. They go to the triangle. They're getting some farm up. Travels is picked up first by Yoe, so he does hold off on the Mjolnir, and Execration actually smoke up. This could be something big if they do catch out Armel, which they were pinging out, but he's going to TP.
He will. The real killing blow here for Execration is going to be once Gabby has that MKB up on this Void. Aether Remnant going to be there onto Armel, but he's going to be just fine. He just walks away. It's just kind of a bit of a threat being thrown out by Rupido, but it doesn't really lead to anything. But that tier 2 mid tower now going to be in a spot of bother here. No MKB quite yet, but it doesn't really matter. They have plenty of damage output if they do go for a big team fight in a chrono. Not to mention, of course, Gabby does still have the Aegis. Armel is going to get a lasso off. He has caught out the Master Ken. Going to be in massive danger. A massive stomp out. It just won't matter, though. He does die anyway, and now they found the Void Spirit. He's trying to dissimulate out, and he will go for the Astral Step up towards the high ground. But what do you do about this? Like, you're so far behind in farm. It's just very hard to imagine being able to pull the comeback off.
They've got to play a perfect high ground, which is just so difficult. They rely on getting good arena off with kisses, along with a stomp follow-up in your ET. But it's a very hard game to hope for the perfect initiation here. And every single time, they just don't have enough damage. You've got this tanky frontliner in KP. Even Gabby is fairly tanky as well. They have nothing to mitigate the heals. And they hold off on the high ground at the least, but that tier 3 has taken some significant damage. And as you mentioned, TNC, they still hold on to that Aegis. So it looks like they might be able to wait out long enough with the Aegis into the MKB before forcing anything big.
Oh, Yoe, he might lose this Tempest double as well. No, it's going to be alright. Gabby won't bother trying to go after it. He'd rather the creep wave. Just let it expire. Finish off that MKB now. Yoe, he is still farming quite nicely. I don't really like the fact that there's a Midas right now that's available to be used, but, you know, there's no creeps around for him to use it on, so it's going to make the long run down towards the south to actually find a camp to Midas. There we go. But while he was doing that, the tier 2 top tower is going to drop.
Not clean trades for Execration. They're just losing map control. TNC constantly setting up for the high ground, and oh, lasso.
Yeah, Armel just straight onto the high ground. Does catch out RR, and that's going to mean RR's gone. Armel seems to believe this game is very lame. As he continues to kill people off with this Bat Rider. Rupido going to try to get some damage out. Gabby is falling low, but he's going to time walk all of it off. The Sunray's just going to heal them all up through the Mortimer's Kisses. They are a bit low in mana for that Chrono, but, you know, he could just die and get a reset if he really wants to with that Aegis, but it looks like he's going to walk away happily.
Yeah, it's an awkward time to suicide Aegis because they've got, like, what, a second? It should expire soon, and it does. So, good timing in pulling out. They are getting jumped, though.
Yeah, the Splitter going to fly through. There are... I just don't see how you commit to the jump if you're Execration. Like, it has to be on the high ground. You are lacking your Mortimer's Kisses as well, which makes it that much harder, as well as the Earth Splitter now. And on top of that, John, there's your MKB now for Gabby.
Ooh, he's pretty much all set. Like, he's got the damage in his right clicks. Doesn't have too much to worry about. I think Execration now. You mentioned it, but high ground's got to be where they play. Split push as well with the Arc Warden's got to come up and really be effective, although Armel.
I mean, he's just so confident. Lasso out, Gabby, Chrono going to connect on two right in the back lines. They get rid of RR. Now BDZ also going to die. Rupido trying to run. He does Astral Step once, but he is just going to step into his own death. And it just doesn't seem to end for Execration. The torture will continue. In fact, down at the bot lane, Armel trying to set up onto Yoe. Armel might be in danger, or maybe he just isn't. I don't know if they have the damage output. Dark Rift coming in. Yoe has been called out. He'll try to use the magnetic field, but it just doesn't matter. Gabby has the MKB. He will go through the evasion of the bubble. 18k net worth lead for TNC, and with the way they're playing, John, you'd think TNC are late for dinner.
Yeah, it does look like that. Like, they're trying to rush out. I mean, they just had Merienda as well, though, right? Like, Armel's had his Merienda. That's why he's on point. So I don't know if it's right to rush for dinner like this. Execration does look like they need a little bit of fuel in the tank. 18k behind here, Mike. High ground being sieged. They don't have their Arc Warden. Their options are limited.
They are. Tom is going to be there. Gabby will cop it. He doesn't have that Aegis left. Force Staff, Earth Splitter, all going to be there, but it just doesn't do enough as Gabby now goes onto RR, and the Lasso is going to catch out Ken on that Mars. He does pop his BKB, but can he fight back with this? He's trying to find a way in for an arena. He'll go for a spear back onto KP, but that is the tankiest target on the map right now. Rupido is been left behind. He'll dissimulate and try to Astral Step away. He'll make it out in time, but they just can't fight TNC. They're slowly chipping away. KP, he's starting to get low. He's been disrupted. Sunray is going to be stopped by a massive stomp out from RR. They do get one. Arena now going to be placed by Ken. Perhaps they even kill off Tims, and they will. Onto more. Miss out onto Armel. Febby also will be able to TP away, and Gabby will just do the old-fashioned run back to the base. So overall, not too bad. They do get a core and a support kill. And it's not like that's really going to change the game, but it does buy them more time.
Yep, they are stalling out. I think that's all you can hope for right now in Execration. Like, you've got Arc Warden. The hero can turn games around if you do get enough farm. They are also starting to build up a bit in their early heroes. It's just that again.
Gabby is the second off Chrono. Loves going after RR. Does just kill him off. Lets Armel get the kill with the Firefly. Onto the Lasso. They caught out BDZ. And BDZ, he just picked up his Aghanim Scepter. Well, now they're going to know about it without a surprise reveal. Will end up dying without buyback.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I think their first gobble up was towards the mid-tier 1 when no one else is there. So they miss out on revealing that item in a big way, and
Kenny blinks away in time. He does spot them out for a second. Gabby knows he's run south. Does he go for the blind Chrono? No, he does not. Doesn't want to waste it. The rest of Execration, I mean, they were looking to try and find a pick-off, but there's nobody around.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's a very tough position.
it really is. That gap continues to grow. They are putting all their eggs in one basket in Yoe, so he has to deliver on this Arc Warden. And I see that net worth gap between Yoe and Gabby. It's way too big. It's still about a 4k gap. That's an Arc Warden that's had, a fairly decent timing in Midas. Not the fastest as well. There's just not enough. Like, he's forced to join these fights early on. He's been dying a lot relative to what you'd want from an Arc Warden. So the build-up's just been painfully slow, and you need a lot more in Yoe before anything can happen. I think they need to play around that gobble up into Arena. That's how they have to play. So it's down to BDZ and Ken, or BDZ and Rupido. you know, get the gobble up into Remnant or Spear and just kind of find pickoffs that way. They just have no space in map. Look at the wards from TNC. It's just all over the place. They know the movements of Execration and can avoid any sort of rotation out just fine.
Yeah, I mean, while you're saying that, John, Gabby's just freely taking Roshan. There's no contest to be had, and it's a very easy task. Another Aegis, a cheese as well. Gabby will give that over to Armel. On the brighter side, Yoe does now have the Eye of Skadi up, so you have got a bit more potential here to maybe kill off Gabby on that Void. Mind you, Gabby is 10, 1, and 8 right now, so he is worth a lot of gold on this Void. Can secure a kill, you'd be sitting very happy for Execration. Gabby is in prime position now to jump in for a big chrono. Does have the blink up. Will spot out Rupido, but won't go for that. Dark Rift down to the bot lane. It looks like they have found out Ken. As well as that, there is also a Tempest double, and they'll go ahead and try to claim that as well. Why the hell not?
Yeah, it's just rinse and repeat. Like, they back off, they find a pick off, maybe they start to play with this numbers advantage now. They haven't popped any ult besides Dark Rift. Gabby makes his way up top with his TP onto the outpost, so he can just start laying onto those objectives once more, and he does. He's pump faking Chrono as well. Unfortunately, his creep wave is behind, so there's not much Gabby can do until that catches up.
No. Let's pop the BKB, and now goes for a lasso attempt onto our Void Spirit. They do have Chrono, but Gabby just blinks straight into the high ground. Looking for more, and looks like they will just try to settle for the Void Spirit, and they do get him. It took him a while, but they do eventually get there, and Gabby, he was trying to get a pick greedy, trying to find the backlines of Execration, but they had already run all the way back to the fountain.
Yeah, it's I think it's perfectly fine. Like, they still find that kill, they're still going through the back door, they've got the creep wave up at last, and they can finally lay onto the melee racks.
Here they go. Pit of Malice does catch out RR again, but Yoe is going to lose the Tempest double first. A nice stomp out. They might be able to kill off Gabby with Armel. He goes for a lasso on to Ken, and now the Chrono committed. Gabby, he's low in HP, but he will have just enough to kill off BDZ on the Snapfire. Meanwhile, Ken's still surviving, but Gabby, he's going to go for a bit of a man fight in the back lines. In fact, no, he's not, but he's debated KB into going back there as well. He'll Dark Rift, though, and it looks like he's going to be fine. Gabby jumps into the taxi just before it leaves. They get the mid-racks, and that'll pretty much be it. They do pack off. The TNC continue to extend this huge net worth lead they have.
I mean, they're paying respects to the power that Execration does have on hand. You saw how much damage was falling out from our Tempest double as soon as the procs were coming in from Mjolnir, so there's still a lot of damage in the pool here for Execration, and TNC's just, they're kind of toying around, but at the same time they understand their limits. So they're not giving any opportunity for Execration to bounce back in, and they're just pulling back, rinsing and repeating, and keeping that hunt on.
That they are. It's like Armel's not done either. He wants more lassos. Got that Octarine core. Oh, they just throw the Tempest double straight in nowhere. It's going to try and kill off Armel, but a lasso is going to be there onto Rupido, and it looks like he is just going to die, and Armel is just going to walk away scot-free. Gabby will take another kill for himself on the Void.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair way to play it, though. Like, you've got this amazing initiation. The Tempest double, again, does so much damage. You saw how low Armel was dropping if he didn't get that backup. So it's probably the safest way for Execration to find that Hail Mary play. It's just that there's no easy target. I think if you can find the supports, you'd be happiest with that right now. But Armel's probably the easiest core, and even then, he's fairly tanky with what he has, so you might want to settle for supports for now. But TNC, and they just go back to the high ground. Gabby, Chrono's still out for 40, but the melee racks doesn't look like it'll hold too long this time around.
Oh, they're still going after this mid-racks. I could have sworn it was already gone, but I mean, they've been fighting so much. So they've been kind of ignoring it this whole time as Armel go for a bit of a blink into the back lines. Won't quite be able to catch anyone out. Like Yoe will threaten Gabby with this Tempest double, and it will be enough for him to back off. Yoe is gonna die. Tempest double, that is. Armel, he's been used up. The 8th of Remnant gonna be there, but Armel is able to get the BKB off in time. Looks like with that BKB on cooldown, they don't want to try and dive any further. That'll pretty much be it for TNC for now. In all fairness, they could just keep extending this net worth lead. There's nothing to really slow them down here.
No, it's slow and steady wins the race here for TNC. No rush, no giving up opportunities towards Execration. Again, the high ground defense is fairly strong if they land all their spells, so they're just paying respect to that. Still, Chrono's back up for Gabby, so if there was anything to be scared of, now should be the moment, as they do have this massive teamfight spell ready. But Execration are staying disciplined, and they're just slowly but surely kind of forcing TNC to play this chip game here.
It's a very slow game. In Yoe, I mean, this is what you get when you have an Arc Warden in the game, right? Like, the game just...
Yeah.
It always gets dragged out, because you could just keep defending high ground over and over again without ever really risking your life. The negative, of course, for Execration is, while they have that Arc Warden, the net worth is not really going up their way at all. It continues to just climb for TNC. I suppose the idea is eventually TNC is just going to have such a big lead that you just can't really contest them anymore. And on top of that, of course, John, they are going to have access to all these neutral items much earlier than Execration.
Yeah, and they find some pretty big ones as well. Spell Prism coming through, so that cooldown is going to be great for Armel. Of course, and he's had his Octarine for a while, so having these reductions are going to be big. They smoke up. They've got a lot of items in play. They just want to reveal them. Butterfly up on Gabby means he hits like a truck, and they shouldn't be too scared now. Like, they've got these spikes with the tier 4s. They smoke up, and we'll see if they can find someone, as, again, Execration all the way behind their tier 4s for the most part.
That's it. Be the last-ditch defense as Gabby has a DD rune. He's found Yoe. That's the real one. He doesn't pop the Chrono yet, though. He's held out, but Armel does get the lasso. Arena being dropped. They're trying to fight back, but Yoe, he's way too low, and he will die without buyback. Now the Chrono comes out. They've got Ken in there, and they will just burst him down. He'll buy back, though. Onto KP they go. They want the Underlord at least. He's still surviving as Gabby apparently just kills off RR. Now Armel going back onto the Tempest Double. KP will drop, but Gabby just jumps in right in front of the fountain. Onto BDZ, but the Gobble Up play is there. RR doesn't really want to die back if he can avoid it, and he will not. Gabby's just stealing their mangoes, though. Very dangerous stuff here from TNC. You don't want to start a mango farm around these guys right now.
Definitely not. Still, they managed to finally get some progress on that top 2-0 lasso.
Another lasso out. This cooldown is very low right now, John. 42.2 seconds. So, they weren't expecting that one.
No. Nah. Tier 4 is now dropping. They will have to respawn on Yoe in about 7, so they can play the defense game, but you've got to be careful here. A lot of damage on Gabby, and you do have the arena, but I'm not sure if you're going to have enough follow-up here.
Well, Gobble Up is not going to land. Lasso's back up in 10 seconds. So they can actually try to reinitiate if they really want to on TNC's end of things. It looks like they are going to just opt to back off. Funnily enough, they didn't actually get any more racks. They were going after the tier 4 towers, so they got some towers for their trouble, but no added racks.
Yeah, it's slow going. Like, they want to go for the juggler, but don't quite have that easy opening. Still, they do find another Roche, third Roche of game, so Aegis Cheese plus a refresh coming through. It's going to be big if they give it to Gabby. Just the double Chrono should win them the game outright. Execration.
Torpedo is in onto the Phoenix, but the egg is going to come out. Earthsplitter as well. Gabby just going to burst down the Void Spirit. Lasso is also there. Looks like they have caught out RR on the Elder Titan. He's also going to drop as Gabby just keeps going forward onto Yoe, and it looks like he has nothing to do with this team fight any longer as he does die, and the GG is finally called. no buybacks really left here on Execration. And TNC, they do confidently pull off a 2-0 victory in this series.
Yeah, it was a lot closer for Execration here in game number 2, 45-19. They held their cool early on in the game, but they couldn't get enough farm. Yoe on the Arc Warden just could not get the space you expect an Arc Warden to. His Midas timing was slower than Gabby's, which was the biggest hurting point. Like, TNC got that rotation right on time, right as Gabby was about to finish his own farm up, and it kind of fell flat. A good effort from Execration. That does mean TNC stays up on top of the groups, though, and Execration's going to have to look elsewhere for a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, John, with that, we are going to move on to our next series of the night. It's going to be T1 versus Neon, which I would argue is probably going to be one of the closer matchups tonight between those two. Now, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing the new T1 roster, as I haven't really had much time. Neon, it looks like they've had a bit of a struggle throughout the group stages, but they have also been playing in another tournament at the same time as the Pro Series, so they've been busy boys, and of course with their roster changes and their position changes, I can't say it's too surprising, but let's see what they get up to in this next series. And of course, John, for you get to see your boy again, your best friend. Coach March is going to be there. It's always nice.
Well, I don't think he's going to be in the lobby, sadly. So
why not?
He can't give me his smile. I haven't noticed coaches come in. Their managers come in. Like, we get to say hi to Rain and watch him get kicked every single time. But we'll see. Maybe March does show up to say hi. That would be nice.
Well, we'll find out in a couple minutes. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire. We'll see you all again after a 10-minute break for our third series of the night. We'll see you then.